What's up, everyone? We are looking at a little bit of a mixed Friday. Bitcoin is trying to recover a bit. The Bitcoin miners are mixed. Some are green, mostly red, which to me is great because this is a wonderful opportunity. I'm very bullish on the Bitcoin miners right now. And the fact that the vast majority, if not all of the Bitcoin miners, are now in profitability with Bitcoin's recent price moves makes me extremely bullish. This reminds me of before the halving. A few months before the halving, when we started seeing Bitcoin miners posting profitability, what did we see? We saw massive rallies until the halving came along, cut rewards back in half, brought these Bitcoin miners back to unprofitability, and here we are now, about to flip back to profitability again to end this cycle very strong for the Bitcoin miners. Buying the Bitcoin miners now surely isn't like buying them back in late 2022 throughout 2023, but this is still the time to be buying them. The product that these companies produce is rising in price massively, and the fact that the Bitcoin miners lately haven't been rallying along with it as much makes me that much more bullish. One thing we've been seeing lately is the Bitcoin miners taking some profits, selling some of their Bitcoin. We have news that exchange deposits surged to $4 billion as Bitcoin hit new all-time highs recently. And basically just 3 days since November 12, Bitcoin miners have moved 45,000 Bitcoin to exchanges. And on November 12 alone, they moved 24,000. And we did get an update from Ali Charts saying that the daily RSI for Bitcoin is in overbought territory. Let me remind you, just because Bitcoin's overbought doesn't mean it can't go higher before we see a correction. For instance, here's a point where we were even more overbought than we are here. What did we do? We consolidated for a few days and then we rallied another $10,000. Bitcoin went from 62,000 to about 74,000, so 12,000. When Bitcoin is in a pump phase, when Bitcoin is rallying, sometimes there's no stopping it. One thing I was pointing out to you guys the other day was bearish divergences, meaning we might be due to cool down. One thing we did see just a few hours ago was a bullish divergence. We saw the RSI starting to pick up at this point here, starting to rise while the price was actually dropping still. The momentum was starting to shift. It looks like we're trying to establish 87,000 as a support. If we break it, we're obviously heading down to test 86, with the final support at 85,000 and really not much else because we have been kind of pumping. Following what Q4 has done every halving year for Bitcoin, I would expect us to continue higher. Chart-wise, I think a little more consolidation wouldn't be a bad thing. And just keep in mind how much we have ran recently. Keep in mind how far away we are from our 50 MA. Our 200 MA. Just like in the past cycle, there will be retests of it. If you look at last cycle, how we just continue riding up it until we broke it, found it as resistance, and tanked until we regained it and rallied again. So maybe we do something similar here. We utilize this red line, which is way down here at 69,000, the last cycle top. It'll keep heading up, obviously, as we consolidate. It is a lagging indicator. But perhaps we come down and test it. Maybe by the time it's at our previous all-time high, that's 74,000, that we just couldn't break over for a couple of months until we finally did. Bitcoin will pull back. There will be corrections along the overall bull run, and there will be corrections in 2025 before we reach the top. Now, I do want to talk about some recent news for Bitcoin. The other day, Bitcoin did pass Saudi Aramco in market cap, but it was taken back again. But Bitcoin for a brief period has become the 7th largest asset on the planet. And over the past 6 trading days, spot ETFs have seen 4.7 billion in net inflows. Insane. And looking at assets ranked by market cap, you can see that Bitcoin is right here in between silver and Saudi Aramco. And it could go either way. We could see a little more of a pullback and be testing around number 10 spot with Meta. I think by the end of this bull run, we will be competing with Nvidia. It's not that far away. Consider this, if Nvidia pulls back to its September pricing of about $100 a share, it would be losing nearly 1 trillion in market cap. If Bitcoin could gain about a 50% from here and Nvidia goes back to a price that it saw back in September, not that long ago, we could easily see Bitcoin take that number 2 spot in terms of global market cap. I don't think we're going to pass gold. I think that is far off, perhaps next cycle. But passing Nvidia, which is about a double for Bitcoin from here, I think that is doable. I don't think it's 100%, but I think it is very doable, especially if we see a correction for Nvidia. Then in my opinion, it is all but guaranteed. Now, as you guys know, the other day we got PPI and CPI, and they did tick higher year over year. We did see some outflows yesterday because of some, fears about inflation, fears that we might get less rate cuts. But what have we been seeing? Like I just said, guys, we saw a 6-day streak of 4.7 billion in inflows. Don't get hung up about a 400 million outflow day. Look at the bigger picture. These spot Bitcoin ETFs are continuing to build up their assets under management. Soon they will collectively have $100 billion together. They are getting very close. Soon IBIT will have 500,000 Bitcoin if they don't already. And why not take a quick look at what IBIT holds? They hold 471,000 Bitcoin. BlackRock alone is going to have 500,000 Bitcoin. At some point, BlackRock alone will have 1 million Bitcoin. Don't let all the Bitcoin go into these large companies. Don't let MicroStrategy, BlackRock, Fidelity. Don't let all of these funds end up with all of the Bitcoin, because this is clearly what's happening. It is so much harder to accumulate Bitcoin now with it at 90,000 versus when it was 20,000. You could almost buy 5 times the amount of Bitcoin versus its current price. This is why you want to take advantage during the bear market. This is why you want to buy the Bitcoin miners, Bitcoin, while it's not in favor, while no one wants it. Following the cycle, it's almost too easy, but somehow people still find a way to fuck it up. Thanks as always, guys. Hopefully you have a good weekend, and I'll see you next time.